Computer science is classified as the major with the highest dropout rate, and the hardest years of a computer science student is the first year. If you're someone who has just started computer science or someone who's thinking of starting computer science, then I advise you to watch this video because I will talk about the curriculum in general, what to expect in your first year, and lastly, I will offer you tips on how to actually survive computer science and make sure that you finish this degree. So, let's get started. Computer science is a very interesting field to study, but it can also be tough and challenging. In the end, every student is different from another. Some students will find it easy, while others will struggle, but that doesn't mean you can't get better, so keep this in mind. Now, let's talk about, in general, what you're going to expect in computer science. Yes, there is a lot of math. You'll be learning topics like derivatives and partial derivatives, definite and indefinite integrals, also double and triple integrals. This is calculus, and yes, there is more than that. Also, you'll learn linear algebra, where you'll discuss matrices, determinants, and more. There's also discrete math. Personally, I didn't like this course, but this is where you'll learn more about mathematical logic, sets, relations, and more. Now, you'll ask me, what if you hate math? What should you do? Well, not knowing math shouldn't be a factor for you to not pursue computer science, but what I advise you is to try your best, and there is no need for you to get an A on the course. Just pass the course and focus more on building yourself in the areas that matter in computer science, like learning a new programming language, for example, or building projects. Apart of math, there is definitely coding courses, but the majority of computer science courses are theoretical. You'll be learning about computer architecture, operating systems, theory of computation, networks, and more. Now, some of these courses might contain projects to do, but the material is so theoretical. In my point of view, the toughest course you'll face in computer science is computer architecture. You'll learn about assembly language, how the CPU works, and concepts that are related to hardware and caches, which are concepts that are really hard to grasp at first. Now, don't get me wrong though, a part of the theoretical part, there's definitely some coding courses to do. But it's not enough to rely on the coding you do in university, because it will definitely not land you a job. Keep in mind that whatever language or project you do in university, it is just a fraction of what you need to know to land a job and prepare yourself for the future. Because true learning happens outside university. Now, I know you are waiting for an answer to this question. Why students drop out in their first year? Like, isn't it supposed to be easy? Listen, in your first year, this is where you will discover the true colors of a computer science major. And this is where you'll decide whether to stay or leave. You'll start by learning the basics of programming. Typically, some universities either start with C++, Java, or Python. But what's the problem is that most students just couldn't grasp the idea of programming and end up losing hope and giving up, which results in a dropout. And a lot of people think that maybe coding wasn't for me, I need to find another major. But the way it actually is that they didn't put enough effort to learn coding, accepting that it is hard at the beginning and being patient enough to learn the basics and evolve from there. And that's why a lot of first year students end up dropping out, simply because they didn't put enough effort. What I advise you, if you're someone who's thinking of enrolling in computer science, is that start from today to teach yourself programming. The languages you can learn are C++, Python, or Java. Just choose one of them. But I personally recommend starting with Python, then moving on to C++ or Java. Now, there's a lot of free tutorials out there, so you don't have any excuse not to start. So having prior knowledge in programming is definitely a huge advantage in computer science. But what about those who are already in their first year in computer science and have no knowledge in programming? Does that mean they can't succeed? Definitely you have a chance to succeed, but it requires effort. My advice is to find your weakness and work on it. If you're currently learning C++ as your first language and you're not able to understand how recursive functions work, just go online and search it or ask ChatGPT to explain it step by step, but just do your best to understand it. Also, try to learn the language all by yourself during the semester. Don't wait for the next lecture, just come back home, keep on learning by yourself, search for exercises, and make sure you train your mind on how to solve problems using coding. Look, here are some tips for you to survive your first year, and they are also applicable to the rest of your CS journey. Don't rely on your courses to learn coding. Go online, search for languages you want to learn, and learn it before the lecture. Like this, you will have a huge advantage over your classmates. Practice makes perfect. Lecture exercises might be helpful, but they are not enough. you have to search for exercises or ask ChatGPT to create for you exercises, because it is very important for you to train and build this mindset to solve problems. At the end, just have a life. I'm saying this for you to avoid burnouts. Don't overstudy and don't overstress everything. Just do your best and put in the effort, and trust me, computer science will feel much simpler than before. Here's a bonus tip. Don't rely on university. You have to learn by yourself if you want to land a perfect job. Think of university as a place to connect with people and build networks. But if you really want skill, you have to search for tutorials and online lessons, and do research on demanding skills in the job market, because university won't teach you languages that are in demand. So keep this in mind. Alright, these are my tips on how to survive computer science as a first year student. Of course, leave your comments below and ask your questions too. I also recommend you to start your programming journey with either learning Python or C++. These are beginner friendly tutorials, so make sure to check them out.